Florida residents fleeing to Texas, the shocking reasons behind it. 2023 has witnessed a significant migration from the Sunshine State of Florida to the Lone Star State of Texas, with over 150,000 people leaving their familiar lives behind in search of stability in Texas. Florida currently ranks fourth in supplying new residents to Texas, a staggering figure for those tracking migration trends. But what has driven Floridians to relocate to Texas in such large numbers? To dig deeper, we will explore the hidden reasons behind this migration wave and the shocking truths behind their decisions. The homelessness crisis in Florida. One of the biggest factors pushing Floridians to Texas is the rampant homelessness problem. A 2022 report from the National Alliance to End Homelessness shows that Florida ranks fourth in the nation for homelessness, with over 207,000 people lacking stable shelter. The state's booming tourism industry has sharply driven up seasonal housing costs. Affordable housing becomes extremely scarce during peak tourist seasons, forcing many low-income residents onto the streets. In contrast, Texas faces a far less severe homelessness issue. Despite being the second most populous state in the U.S., Texas has only about 1,300 homeless individuals on any given night, a much lower number than in Florida. This paints a starkly different picture. Texas's strong energy-based economy provides stable jobs for low-skilled workers. Furthermore, Texas's housing market has seen slower price increases, offering better opportunities for homeownership for lower-income individuals. This has attracted a large number of Floridians seeking more security and stability in their lives. Florida's hurricane threat. When considering the shocking reasons behind Floridians flocking to Texas, natural disasters, particularly hurricanes, cannot be overlooked. Florida is considered the state with the highest risk of hurricane strikes in the U.S., having experienced over 125 hurricanes since 1851. In comparison, Texas has only faced 66 hurricanes, nearly half the number seen in Florida. This difference is largely due to geography. The Florida Peninsula sits between the warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean, which are ideal for hurricane development and strengthening. Meanwhile, Texas has a shorter coastline along the Gulf of Mexico, experiencing fewer and less severe hurricanes. Additionally, the destructive power of hurricanes in Florida is much greater. Florida has endured 40 major hurricanes with Category 3 intensity or higher, while Texas has only seen 20. A prime example is Hurricane Andrew in 1992, one of the most devastating hurricanes in U.S. history, which ravaged Florida with an estimated $65 billion in damages. These severe hurricanes not only cause property damage, but also threaten lives and stability, forcing residents to seek safer locations like Texas. Inflation in Florida. Inflation in Florida is one of the reasons many residents are seeking a more stable life in Texas. In a recent report, Florida ranked fifth in the nation for the highest inflation rate, with prices rising nearly 7% from the previous year. This has added pressure on residents in major cities like Miami and Fort Lauderdale, where inflation has soared to 9%, far above the national average. In contrast, Texas has seen more stable inflation, hovering around 3.1%. The difference in the cost of living between the two states has attracted Floridians to Texas, hoping for a less volatile environment. With lower living costs, Texas has become an ideal place for those wanting to escape the financial pressure in Florida. Wildlife in the heart of Florida and Texas. Both Florida and Texas are famous for their diverse wildlife, but the experience of living with nature differs significantly between the two states. In Florida, you may encounter prehistoric alligators, which often appear in canals and swamps, turning a simple walk near home into an adrenaline-filled adventure. The sight of flamingos with their bright pink feathers is also a unique and charming feature of Florida. In Texas, you encounter a different kind of peace and wilderness. It's common to see majestic white-tailed deer grazing in fields, or catch a glimpse of a roadrunner darting by at lightning speed. Texas's proximity to nature provides a sense of freedom and raw wilderness, which contrasts with the more intense and often dangerous wildlife encounters in Florida. Imagine living near a canal in Florida, where alligators might lurk right in your backyard. The threat posed by these predators requires constant vigilance, especially when young children are involved. In Texas, while you might hear coyotes howling at night or encounter rattlesnakes, the threats are not as constant as they are with Florida's alligators. High crime rates. Crime in Florida is another factor driving the exodus to Texas. According to FBI Uniform Crime Reporting data from 2023, Florida has a much higher violent crime rate than Texas. In 2022, Florida's violent crime rate reached 631.9 per 100,000 residents, while Texas's rate was just 451 per 100,000 residents. Additionally, Florida's property crime rate was significantly higher, at 4,934.8 per 100,000 residents in 2022. Florida became a hotspot for crimes like theft. In contrast, Texas had a lower property crime rate of 2,122.3 per 100,000 residents. These statistics have driven Floridians to seek a safer environment in Texas, where they feel less threatened by criminal activity. Tourism boom or local burden. Florida, with its dreamlike beaches, globally famous theme parks, and year-round warm weather, has long been a magnet for tourists. However, the state's enormous tourism industry also brings complex problems. Local infrastructure becomes overwhelmed. Housing prices soar to the point where long-time residents struggle to stay. Traffic congestion in popular tourist areas turns daily life into a test of patience. The very attractions that once drew people to the state, such as beaches and national parks, have become overcrowded, losing their appeal to local residents. In contrast, Texas offers a more spacious tourism experience. While destinations like Austin, San Antonio, and the Hill Country attract large numbers of visitors, Texas maintains balance due to its vast size. The spread-out nature of tourist destinations helps ease the pressure on infrastructure. Small towns retain their unique culture without being overrun by tourists. Texas's strong economy also helps minimize the negative impact of tourism on local residents, leading to a more stable standard of living compared to Florida. High cost of living. The cost of living is one of the primary reasons Floridians are flocking to Texas. Florida is notorious for high housing prices, particularly in urban areas like Miami. A one-bedroom apartment in Miami can rent for as much as $2,200 a month, while a similar apartment in Austin, Texas, rents for around $1,000 to $1,500. This disparity grows even larger when it comes to home ownership, with the median home price in Miami exceeding $500,000 compared to Austin's $420,000. Beyond housing, daily expenses such as food and transportation are also cheaper in Texas, with significantly lower gas prices. These savings add up, allowing Texas workers to save more, especially those with average incomes. This has prompted many Floridians who are grappling with rising living costs to move to Texas in search of a more stable life. Poverty. Florida's poverty rate stands at 17.4%, partly due to its high cost of living. Low-income workers struggle to maintain even a basic standard of living, while many retirees on fixed incomes find it impossible to keep up with the rising costs. Florida's tourism industry, while generating many jobs, often provides low-wage service positions with limited opportunities for advancement. This only worsens the poverty situation in the state. In contrast, Texas, with a slightly lower poverty rate, presents a different kind of poverty. While Texas's minimum wage is slightly higher than Florida's, access to public assistance programs is still limited. However, the lower cost of living and more abundant job opportunities, particularly in the energy and tech sectors, have helped ease poverty in the state. Traffic congestion. Traffic congestion is a nightmare for Floridians, especially in South Florida, which includes Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. With a surge in tourists and new residents, the roads are jam-packed with vehicles. Miami consistently ranks as one of the most traffic-congested cities in the US, with drivers spending over 120 hours a year stuck in traffic on average. In Texas, traffic congestion is less severe thanks to its vast size and developed highway system. While major cities like Houston and Dallas experience rush hour stress, traffic is more evenly distributed across the state. This allows Texas to maintain smoother traffic flow on major roads, avoiding the severe gridlock that Floridians face daily.